Funding for this program was provided by Community Trust Bank, serving the communities of North Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi for more than a century. Community Trust Bank is a proud partner of LPB's Louisiana Legends.
Funding for this program was provided by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting.
Raised on gospel music with his famous cousins in the small town of Ferriday, Louisiana, Mickey Gilley never dreamed he'd become a country music superstar. Neither did his devout mother, who prayed he'd steer clear of the devil's music.
Well, back in when we were all in junior high, we'd go to the gym, and Jerry Lee would get on the piano, missing a couple keys, and Swaggart and Mickey would sing "Drinking Wine, Totally Oldie, Drinking Wine."
The youngest of 4 children, Mickey was a surprise baby and beloved mama's boy. But at 17, he left home, married his high school sweetheart, and started a family of his own.
He worked for meager sums, laying sanitary sewer lines in Houston, and it was very much the base existence of getting from one week to the next.
Inspired by his cousin Jerry Lee Lewis's success in the late 50s, Mickey began playing clubs at night in hopes of a better life. But despite a divorce and continued struggle to support his second wife and 4 children, he never lost faith in his dream.
He's a man who didn't have his first #1 hit until he was 38 years old. So he knew what it was to struggle, he knew what it was to fail, and he never forgot what it was to be a regular Joe.
His luck changed in 1971 when he partnered with Sherwood Crier to open Gilley's nightclub in Pasadena. It would become the world's largest honky-tonk, set the stage for nearly a decade of hits starting in 1974, and inspire the 1980 blockbuster movie Urban Cowboy that revolutionized the country music scene.
My favorite song of Mickey Gilley's has still got to be "Don't the Girls All Get Prettier" at closing time. He epitomizes the Urban Cowboy to me.
He's down to earth. He's one of the most friendliest guys you'll ever meet. He'll do anything in the world for you.
If I sent a rose to you, every time you make me.
He loves 3 things: flying, playing golf, and singing.
He would fly in and play golf all day and just have a blast with everybody and all his friends from Ferriday. He loves Louisiana. That's his home.
After closing his Gilley's Texas hotspot in 1989, he found a new home in Branson, Missouri. In the early 90s, he opened Gilley's Theater and Texas Cafe, entertaining fans night after night. But an accident on July 5th, 2009 changed everything.
We were obviously devastated, knew that Mickey was trying to move a piece of furniture and fell.
And he was totally paralyzed in Springfield, Missouri for 3 months. Couldn't move nothing but his eyes.
But at age 73, despite overwhelming odds, Mickey fought back. 9 months later, he was back on stage.
Well, I might die young, but I'll have a lot of fun, and folks will always...
Mickey's something else. He's a treasure. I mean, not just for the people that he's entertained for all these years, but he's a treasure to his family. He's a treasure to everybody that's had a chance to spend time around him. He doesn't care where you come from or what you have. He just wants to be your friend.
I think Mickey inspires everyone that's close to him by the fact that he's such a nice guy, genuinely willing to do whatever's asked of him and to go above and beyond to please the people around him. And that's a pretty daunting task, even for those of us that are just everyday people.
He never turns us down, regardless of what you ask him. I can't ever remember him turning us down for anything. So he'll be remembered as one of the true legends of Louisiana.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Beth Courtney. Welcome to Louisiana Legends. I'm here with the country music superstar, Mickey Gilley. And Mickey, welcome to Louisiana Legends. You are a legend.
Thanks for those kind words, Beth, but I don't look at myself as being a superstar. I like to look at myself as being just the boy next door that loves to play music and perform for the folks.
Well, the boy next door was born in Ferriday, Louisiana, and we know, I've driven through Ferriday many a time, stopped occasionally. What was it like growing up in Ferriday?
Well, it was kind of entertaining and interesting due to the fact that, I grew up with my two famous cousins, Reverend Swaggart and Jerry Lee Lewis. It's been I'd have kept better notes if I'd known I was going to have this much success in my career. But we did some crazy things as kids growing up.
Did you just run around in the countryside? Did you ride bikes all over? What was it like?
Well, me and Jerry Lee used to have he had a motor scooter and I had a motorbike. Pardon me. Jimmy and I and Jerry, we were close as we was kids growing up, but probably me and Jerry Lee hung out more than anybody else as far as the cousins were concerned. And we used to play this stupid game. I was reading why the guy came up with this book called Unconquered. And I did interviews with him. I told him a little bit about the childhood growing up. It was things that we did that was really, it's a wonder we hadn't hurt ourselves really, really bad, because one did something, the other two had to do it. If they didn't do it, they were conquered, and that's what the game was, like, I dare you to do that.
Double dare kind of game.
Double dare, yeah, that type of thing.
Well, that sounds like a very sort of normal childhood.
It was crazy, actually.
Was it? Well, but you all were learning music at that time. Music was a big part of your life then, too, wasn't it?
Jerry Lee started playing early in life. He played probably started when he was 6 or 7 years old, somewhere along in there. I didn't start playing piano until I was about 13. And I played with I played the piano and sang with my mother in church. And it all started in a little church, the Assembly of God Church there in Ferriday. And that's where we all three, came out of. And we all three went in different directions. The incredible thing about it is Jerry Lee went to, Memphis, became a rock and roll superstar, so to speak. And he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now, which I'm very proud of. I went to Houston to do construction work. Of course, Reverend Swaggart came to Baton Rouge, where we're at right now, and became one of the premier evangelistic ministers of all time. He was right next to Billy Graham at one time, I think, as far as his ministry was concerned. So we all three went separate ways and all had success in different veins of what happened with us. I eventually gave up on my recording career, and I happened to go into business down in Pasadena, Texas, and got involved in a nightclub, got involved in a television show, and the club grew to become what the Guinness Book of Records listed as the world's largest honky-tonk. And then, of course, we got the film with John Travolta coming down and doing the Urban Cowboy.
Everyone in the country knew about riding on that mechanical bull, right?
Well, Aaron Lathan came down and wrote an article when he found out there was such a hoopla going on down in Texas with people coming out and trying to ride that mechanical bull. And when my business partner first put it in, I asked him, I said, what did you do something like this for? Because the bull is actually a rodeo training device. It should have never been in an entertainment establishment. But he put the bull in, and he said, I put the bull in to get some attention because I had some hits then, and I was on the road traveling with Conway Twitty. And he says, I wanted to keep the fire building in this club, We got something started here, and I didn't want it to die. And I thought this would create some excitement, and sure enough, it did. A guy from New York came down by the name of Aaron Lathan, and he's married to Leslie Stahl, of all people. And he wrote this book, this article, The Battle of the Urban Cowboy. And when I read the article, I did not like it.
You didn't like it? You didn't want all these city folk pretending they were being cowboys, right?
Well, what I didn't like about the article was I thought he was putting country music down, because every other thing in the book was boy falls in love with girl, twang, twang. Boy meets girl, twang, twang. Boy takes girl out, twang, twang. Twang, twang everywhere it was in. I was really mad about it, And I'm on my way out to Los Angeles with my business partner at the time. And he knew that I didn't like the article, and I was going out thinking I was either going to do the Mike Douglas show or the Merv Griffin or Dinah show. One of those shows out there was talk show. And I went out there to do that, and he said, look, don't say anything about this article if you don't like it. If you can't say anything good about it, don't talk about it at all. I said, okay. I said, well, I don't like it. He said, because we might get a film out of it. And I said, are you serious?
And you did.
When he told me John Travolta was interested in playing the part, it dawned on me then, all the Urban Cowboy was a country night fever. If you think about it, John Travolta came off the disco craze,
Correct. Saturday Night Fever. Then he morphed into the dancer there.
And then he came in and did the hold down and everything, the country thing. And he's the one that gave it so much credibility. It was unbelievable.
Well, we've sort of passed over Ferriday a little bit, but I'm back interested in you first playing music. You played the guitar first. And what kind of music did you play though in church? What's a favorite song of yours that you played early on?
The type of songs that I was doing in church was like I come to the garden alone and I'll fly away and the old rugged cross, the right. old gospel music, you know. That's right. What I grew up listening to and knowing about. My mother, we used to do a song called Heaven, and we sung it together. I don't remember all the lyrics to it, but I would take like "I'll Fly Away," and when I demonstrated in the church one day to a group of people, and I said, you know, when we used to sing this song in church, it was "Some glad morning when this life is over, we do it something like that, you know.
Right.
But when I'd sit at the piano, I mean, I learned how to play that boogie bluesy type sound.
Right.
That you know, I learned from my cousin Jerry. You know, some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away. So I mean, I just put a beat to it, you know.
That's right.
And it was one of those things that when I recorded something gospel-wise, and I said, "Mom, I did you a gospel tune." She said, "We never sung it like that in church, son."
That's right. Well, now your family wasn't too excited about you playing music. Then they wanted you to stay in the church.
No, my mom wanted me to be a minister like Reverend Swaggart. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what you know what I told her? I said, "Mom," I said, "look, don't pray against me. You don't have to pray for me. Just don't pray against me, all right?" Because, I mean, I saw some things in her and my...
You thought the Lord was listening to her.
That's right. I know the Lord was listening to her because I watched several things happen that they prayed against it happened. And I said, "Don't pray against me, please."
That's right. Well, now, but success didn't come to you that quickly. We were talking about Gilley's was a wonderful success later on, but there was a period of time there where you traveled a lot, you worked construction, and your first #1 hit was... 40s? 40 years?
I was 38 years old.
38.
Room Full of Roses hit in 1974. I was 38 years old. And the only reason why that I recorded Room Full of Roses was because the lady had the jukebox in Gilley's. I was doing the TV show, and she was listening one day, and I sang She Called Me Baby all night long on the show. And she watched that show, and when I walked into the club that night, she said, "You did a song on the TV show today that I wish you'd record for me." And I said, "What was it?" She said, "She Called Me Baby all night long." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "That's my favorite song." I said, what do you need me to record it for?" She said, "I got 300 jukeboxes, and I'll put it on all the jukeboxes for you. It'll be good for you at the club." And I said, "Well, I hadn't made a record in 3.5, 4 years, you know." I said, "I got the success with the club, I got the success with the TV show, and I couldn't sell the records when I made them. There's no point in me going back in there and trying to record anymore, you know." And I said, "If you want that record, get Harlan Howard's version of it. That's where I learned the song." She said, "You can't find that record anymore. It's out of print." I said, "Well, the next time I'm in the studio working on some music for the television show, I'll try to do this song for you." And sure enough, about 3 months later, I'm in the recording studio, and I turned to the band. I said, "I need to make a cut of She Called Me Baby." We'd been playing at the club, you know, and it's fine. So I recorded it, and it came out fairly well. And so the bass guitar player looked over at me, and he said, "Okay, we got that recorded. What you going to do for the flip side of the record?" I said, I hadn't thought about that.
There's a B-side, right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, you know. I had the one side cut, and he said, "Well, we need another song." And I said, "Let's do the old song, Room Full of Roses." Now, the reason why I thought about that is because Jerry Lee had overlooked it. And that's a song that we grew up singing when we were kids. Is an old George Morgan tune. That's Lloyd Morgan's father, you know. He's back in the 50s. And he had never recorded that song. And so they said, "Well, we don't know that one. How does it go?" So I made an arpeggio on the piano, you know, and I played it through one time for them, and they wrote a little chart on it. And I said, "That's easy enough. Let's do it," you know. So I turned the recorder on. I started into the song, and I got about 45 or 50 seconds into the song, and I stopped. And the guy said, "What'd you quit for?" And I said, "I don't want to do the song." "Why not?" I said, "Because it's going to sound too much like my cousin Jerry Lee Lewis." He said, "Well, what difference does it make? Nobody's ever going to hear it."
Oh.
And I said, "Whoa."
Whoa.
I said, "You got a point."
That's right.
Because I was just recording, you know, just to fill up the other side of the record. And so we went ahead and we recorded it. And I released it locally on the little Astro label that I had there. And I had about 400 or 500 of the records pressed up, and I gave the lady her 300 copies. And we were buying time on the radio stations in Houston, so I took one of the recordings of one of the records up to the program director at KENR in Houston, to a guy by the name of Bruce Nelson. I handed him the record, and I said, "Look, any chance you might play one of these songs when you do the ads on Gilley's?" And he said, "Which side do you want me to play?" I said, "I don't care. You can play the edge if you want to, just as long as you mention Gilley's." So he listened to both sides of the record, and he said, "I think I'll play the flower song." he put that thing on. I mean, it just went crazy all of a sudden.
Wow.
I sold about 20 or 25,000 copies in about 3 to 4 weeks, and I jumped on a plane. I went to Nashville, hollering I had a hit, and every record company in Nashville turned it down.
They did?
Every one of them.
Huh.
And then I make the statement. I said in the show, I said, you know, I was fixing to get ready to leave Nashville because they turned it down. I got dejected. I'd been turned down so many times it didn't bother me that much anymore, you know, because the club was successful and my TV show was successful, and I really didn't need the record, you know. But it was exciting to have something that was selling. So I was on my way, fixing to go back to Houston, and I called a friend of mine by the name of Eddie Kilroy. He was doing promotion work in Nashville, and he said, "What are you doing in Nashville?" I said, "Well, I come up here with a record that's been selling like hotcakes in Houston." I said, "I can't get a record company to take it." And he said, "What is it?" And I said, "Room Full of Roses." He said, "I heard a little about that." He said, "I got a company that'll take it." And I said, "Who?" And he said, "Playboy Records." I said, "Are you serious? Are you kidding me?" Because he was a jokester anyway, you know. I said, "You telling me that Hugh Hefner's got a record company?" He said, "Absolutely. Come on over to the office." And I went up to the office, and he threw me a little record over there, and it had those 2 little bunny heads on it. I said, "I cannot believe this." So him and I ended up, and I tell the story in the show. I enhance it a little bit, you know, but I tell the story in the show. I said, we jumped on the airplane, went to Los Angeles. I said, me and my cowboy outfit, and Hugh Hefner in his pajamas.
Oh, that's fun.
And I said, well, I signed up with Playboy Records, and it went right straight to the top of the charts.
Wow.
And after the first one hit, in Room Full of Roses, when it hit, I'm still working Gilley's, and it just so happens we had booked Conway Twitty to come work the club, and so Conway comes down, and I had never met him, you know, and so I went up and opened the show for him, and I tell the people, I said, "Well, it was my club. I could open it if I wanted to."
Of course you could. That's the beauty of owning your own club, isn't it? That's right.
So anyway, I went up and did my set, and when I walked off the stage to say hello to Conway, he said, "That record, Room Full of Roses, that's yours?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "That's a hot song all over the country." And he said, who's your agent? And I said, "I don't have one." He said, "I'll have somebody down here to talk to you." And I didn't know at the time that him and Loretta owned the agency.
Oh, Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty owned their own agency.
And in 1974, they sent a guy by the name of Jimmy J down to talk to me. That was the guy running the agency. And he signed me to open the shows for Conway. So that's how the thing got started back.
Wow.
But, you know, the thing about it was, A Room Full of Roses hit, and then I had Overlooked in Oregon, it went to #1. Then I had Wind Up Above, and it went to #1. And I had City Lights, and it went to #1. And the reason why I was recording all these remakes of these old songs is because the writers wouldn't give me the top drawer material. Because they thought I was a one-hit wonder. You know, they were saving all the good songs for the mainstream people in the field of music. So I was just taking old songs and having success with them.
Well, that's so interesting. But then you had, what, 18 #1?
17 #1 songs.
#1 songs.
I had 39 top 10 records, and 17 went up #1.
Of those, what's your favorite? Is it Roses?
That's all that matters to me.
That's all. Oh, wow. That's your favorite one. And
it was my favorite recording because I think it was my best record. You know, the best song was The Girls Getting Prettier at Closing Time. It wasn't my best record, but the song was there. And I tell the story about taking the song and letting Conway listen to it. And he said, "You don't need to do that song." He said, "The ladies are not going to like that tune." Talking about them getting prettier at closing time. I said, "Yeah, but my drinking buddies are going to love it."
Now, you went on the road, though. You traveled with Conway and Loretta?
In '74, I went on the road with Conway, and I stayed on the road for probably until I got the theater in Branson.
I always think of this song, you know, of course, Willie Nelson, about On the Road Again. Did you ever run into Willie?
Oh, yeah. But the bottom line about being on the road and performing the music for the people is the only thing you are is a professional bus rider. You're on the bus, you go to a place, you perform an hour 15, sometimes an hour and a half. You get back on the bus, you travel to the next place, same thing over and over and over. And everybody thinks it's a glamorous life. It's not a glamorous life like some people think it is, you know. But it was something that I'd strived for many, many years, and when it first happened to me, I was excited about it. I tell the story about, you know, when I first got on the bus with Conway, and I was playing with the Twitty Birds, because I didn't have a band. I was just a single out on the road, and I was doing my music. And I was working with Conway's band, and I tell the story about, you know, jumping off of the bus when we stopped to fuel the bus, you know, when the truck stops, you know, and I'd walk in, you know, to get a grilled cheese or something, one of the restaurants, and on the jukebox, "If I sent a rose," and I said, "That's me, that's me." Nobody knew who I was, but the bottom line was I was so excited about the fact that I had some recordings out there on me. in the country.
Well, now, Gilley's, you had a little problem with your business partner. You closed it down and then it burned. Is that right?
Well, the reason why I got in a fight with my business partner was because he was booking acts into the club at the time. And on one particular occasion, I came in, and on the board out front, it said Loretta Lynn tonight. And so I went in, and I made an appointment to go over around noon. I said, his name was Sherwood. I said, Sherwood, and I said, Loretta's not going to be here tonight. Don't you know that? She's in the hospital in Nashville. And he said, are you sure? He already knew it, but he was just pulling this little fun game he played with me. And he said, well, I got a contract on her. I said, I don't care what kind of contract you got on her. I said, she's not going to be here. She's in the hospital in Nashville. I just left her up there, and I know she's not going to be here tonight. You need to take the thing. She said, no, I'm not going to take it down. He'd wait till 6 o'clock at night, and then he would tell the people when they got there, Loretta Lynn's ill. She's not going to be here tonight. Come on in and have a good time at Gilley's. And that puts a bad taste in people's mouth.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't like that?
I did not like that, and I did not like the way the club was run.
Right. But so you're now... You went after that. You go to Branson.
Went to Branson,
and you have your own club up there.
I acquired. Well, it's a theater.
It's a theater, right?
I acquired a theater back in '89, and it was destroyed by fire in '93. Of course, Gilley's burnt in '89.
Mm-hmm.
The big club.
Right.
So I'm going to learn how to start a flood.
Fire, flood, pestilence.
But anyway, we got the theater, and thanks to Ozark Mountain Bank there in Branson. They lent me enough money to build back, and I built the theater back.
And how often were you doing your shows?
I was doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week.
Wow, you're a hard worker.
And we were having a tremendous amount of success with the theater. And then as the business slowly slowed down a little bit, then I dropped off from the afternoon shows, just doing 1 show a day, which is really all I wanted to do anyway. Now. I have leased my theater to a group called Six, and they got a hottest ticket in Branson right now, and they do everything with their voice. They don't have a band.
They're an a cappella group.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd have to see it to believe it. They do, they do the drums and the bass, and sometimes when I say boom, 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 I say, I'm sounding like Six now. But,
of course. One of the reasons you changed the schedule and changed what you're doing is because you had a traumatic fall. Tell us what happened.
On July the 5th, 2009, I was helping a friend of mine move a little piece of furniture. And as I backed out of the doorway, I stepped in a flower bed, and I fell about 18 inches backwards. I mean, wow. All the way to the ground, and I landed right on the back of my neck. And it was a life-threatening fall because I damaged C4, 5, 6, and 7. My spinal cord swelled up. And when I woke up 2 days later, I was at Cox South in Springfield, Missouri, and I had a neck brace on and I couldn't move. And it's been the worst thing that ever happened to me. I mean, I've had a lot of things that went wrong, but this was the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
I thought you weren't going to be able to walk, maybe.
I wasn't able to move. My right side slowly started coming back. They thought I was going to be paralyzed on my left side on a permanent basis, but it came back to the point that I can walk a little bit. I'm not totally well yet, but I'm doing everything that I can to try to improve my health. I'm doing cold laser therapy on my left side. My left hand is still giving me a lot of trouble, but it's better than it was.
Well, you can still wear those beautiful rings.
Well, the rings of it. But, I have a hard time. I can't play the piano yet.
Right.
I'm hoping that someday in the future that I might get them a piano, but I may not never be able to play again. I don't know.
But you can still sing.
Well, I'm singing all right.
Yes.
My singing is okay, and I'm still doing my shows, and my band has created the things around me where we do the records as close to the recording as we possibly could. The piano player learned all my piano licks and everything. So we're performing the music, and right now in my theater in Branson, I'm doing what we call my life story in music. And I'm doing all 17 #1 songs, which I've never done that before.
Wow.
My son, Michael, and my video department, and because we videotape everything, we DVDs. We video every show. Mm-hmm. We shoot the audience, and if people want a copy of it, they purchase a copy of it because they're in there, And Matt Miles, who happens to be my tech personnel there in the theater, doing all the fancy stuff with all the lighting and the the computerized systems and everything that they work with on that. We're doing what we call the life story of Mickey Gilley in music, and I started back in the 50s, and I take them all the way through to the present time. And I start with the first record I ever made, and when I play it for them, I play a portion of it, and I tell them in the theater, I said, now you know why it took me 17 years to have a hit.
To have a hit, exactly. Well,
but you got to poke fun at yourself.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
And you've had but really looking back, such a rich experiences through your life, and the music is such a wonderful legacy, leaving behind to your children and your family. And do you still feel connected to Louisiana?
Well, Louisiana's my home state. That's where I was raised. I grew up in Ferriday, even though I was born in Natchez, Mississippi, because my mother had me at the Charity Hospital in Natchez in 1936. I'm 76, and I tell people, if my life ended tomorrow, it'd been a great ride. I can't complain. I mean, I've been very fortunate to have the success I've had. I went out to the Academy of Country Music Awards show in 1977. They gave me every award they had except the Female Vocalist Award. So, I mean, and they gave me a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And not everybody can say that,
That's
I've had 17 #1 songs. I don't have as many as George Strait, but I've had 17, Why can I complain?
That's right. Nothing to complain about. Do you ever talk to your cousins?
I've talked to Jerry Lee more than I do Reverend Swaggart. Mm-hmm. But I mentioned him in the show.
You mentioned him.
Yeah.
Right.
And because Jerry and I are, he to me, he's the best talent in the family. I think he's fabulous. And I tell the people, the show sometimes, I said, I think Jerry Lee Lewis is undoubtedly the greatest talent in our family. If you don't believe me, you can ask him, and he'll tell you.
He will tell you.
But I mean, that's his, that's Jerry's attitude toward life.
Well, that is his persona, and I have to tell you,
he is the best.
Well,
he's like Muhammad Ali, He said, I'm the greatest, and he was. So, if you are, flaunt it.
Well, when I've asked others in Louisiana about you, they have said that you are the most generous, the kindest, the most philanthropic person. If somebody asks you a favor, you always say yes. So I want you to know that people think you're pretty special.
Well, I appreciate them thinking that. I do 2 shows a year at my theater to help my little 4-legged friends, the cats and the homeless puppies that are left behind. And I donate it all to the Humane Society and to the Taney County Animal Control. So that's very rewarding to me, And I advertise it, telling people y'all need to come support us, to help my little 4-legged friends. So,
well, I thank you for being with us today and visiting, and congratulations on being a Louisiana legend. I love talking to you.
Well, thank you. I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, not at all. I just want to hear you sing some more sometime.
Okay, well, we can do that too.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Louisiana Legends. I'm Beth Courtney.
For a copy of this program, call 1-800-973-7246 or go online to www.lpb.org.
Funding for this program was provided by Community Trust Bank, serving the communities of North Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi for more than a century. Community Trust Bank is a proud partner of LPB's Louisiana Legends.
Funding for this program was provided by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting.